Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? And yes, we do have the right camera this week. Holy crap. But yes, we got a lot to get to. It's going to be an exciting episode. We're talking about March Madness. The bracket reveal was just about, an hour or so ago. I'm going to give you my reactions to that, as well as we're going to go through and talk about some of the seeding. Who was snubbed? Who got in that really shouldn't have? And there's a lot of local people here that are not happy about Michigan's seed. So we're going to get into that as well. So let's get locked in. As you can see, I'm rolling solo again this week. The flu is running through the 2K's house, as well as the guests that I had kind of had penciled in. Mr. C. Christian Hudson, his baseball season had started this week, so I wanted to get him on talk some. They're the defending regional champions for this region, so I wanted to make sure to get him on. But yes, we will have him on. We will have him on. But next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge guest coming in, probably our biggest guest so far. But I don't want to quite give it away quite yet. There will be that will be made on our social medias here later this week. So stick if you can't find us, just search Turbo and 2Ks wherever. We're on TikTok. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Twitter. We're live on our YouTube. And thank you each and every one of you that are watching from any of those. And if you're an OG and you take us on the road, whether you're running or you are in the car, the OGs, the audio crew, thank you so much. But yeah, they are the unsung heroes, and there's a lot of them, a lot of the 2K crew that have come from that, so they are the actual OGs. So love each and every one of you. But yes, go find us on Twitter, the Turbo and 2K show, and we will be putting out who our special guest will be. But you guys and gals will not be disappointed. Well, let's jump into some news here. Not a whole lot of news to kind of go over because mostly we're going to be talking about the brackets. We're going to be talking about March Madness, and I'm going to give you some bracket tips and tricks that I've learned. Take those however you will. But yeah, there's a lot of commotion, a lot of moving pieces to this. But before we get into it, happy 316 day for all of you that do celebrate. This is a tweet from 2000's WWE. Cheers to 316 Day, Austin 316. So just thought that was kind of cool. And I think that's pretty much all the I mean, really the news that I had to go into. So yeah, let's just get into March Madness. Let's just get into March Madness. But before we do that, let's kind of start at the beginning. CBS did put together a really cool memoriam for Greg Gumbel. So this is a tweet from College Basketball Content. Miss you, goat. And it kind of took me back because I totally forgot that he had passed away. Totally forgot that. I mean, it just seems like in the last handful of years, a lot of famous people or people of interest have passed away, and he happened to be one of them. And I really didn't realize it until the selection show went underway, and you didn't hear his voice. So rest in peace, my friend. You will be missed, not only this week, but and it seemed like up until he did pass, like this was his Super Bowl. I mean, this is what it seemed like growing up. The Gumbles were everywhere, and now he was just on the March Madness stuff. So yeah, it was rather cool to see that. Another thing I want to get into is the Big Ten Conference Championship. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. What a hell of a game. And way to keep that under 117 points. Love that bet. Love it. But yeah, which is gonna lead to one of the topics once we get into breaking down the bracket is why is Michigan a number 5 seed? But we're gonna get into that. Just a little teaser. But the big question on everyone's mind is why in the hell is North Carolina even in this bracket? Why in the hell are they even in? I mean, there were a lot of people's, not, the second 4 out. They weren't even the first 4 in. And all of a sudden, in the first, I believe it was the first bracket that they unveiled, There they are. There they are. And there's a lot of folks that are saying it's just because of the name on the front of their jersey is the only reason that they got into the dance to begin with. So let's kind of jump into that. Let's kind of jump into that. Well, let's do this one first. This is from Chris Felicia on Twitter. UNC getting in over West Virginia, which had neutral site wins over Gonzaga and Arizona, along with a win at Kansas, is, well, kind of a bad call. And you're going to see there's a lot of folks that kind of are picking up what Chris is laying down. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are quite upset, quite confused. And what kind of makes this even more sketchy is that the guy who runs the panel works for North Carolina, and his name just happens to be Bubba. So here's another tweet from Barrett Sally. North Carolina 1-12 versus quad 1 opponents. Indiana 4-13 versus quad 1 opponents. West Virginia 6-10 versus quad 1 opponents. Ohio State 6-11 versus quad 1 opponents. The Tar Heels made it, the other three did not. So as you can see, there's a lot of, and I remember they kept saying, well, there's a lot of new things, a lot of new tools that they use, different analytics that they're looking at when picking this field as compared to even a couple years ago. And that's ultimately the reason why North Carolina got in. Well, let's go back to the Big Cat's tweet here from at Barstool Big Cat. So Bubba Cunningham recruited himself from the room, but before doing so was like, hey, you guys, do me a solid. Is that how it works? And that's kind of the feeling that a lot of us got. Was there was a lot of, I'm not going to say shystiness, but just a lot of maybe good old boy, one hand washes the other type things, or hey, we're going to do it for our fearless leader. But all in all, they're in the tournament. They're in the tournament, which leads me to believe that if they, I have a feeling a lot of people are not going to be picking them in their bracket, just because they have had a lackluster year. And I've been hearing this for probably 2 or 3 weeks about how there's going to be a big hubbub when it comes to UNC getting in this field. A lot of the experts pick them not to be in this field. They don't deserve to be in this field. The selection committee just said, no, they do. They do, actually. And getting back to this one, Indiana, West Virginia, and Ohio State all were for the first three of the first four out, whereas North Carolina was in. And there was a lot of folks even saying, I believe it was Xavier that got in, that they would put West Virginia and or Indiana or Ohio State above North Carolina and Xavier. So it's not just North Carolina making its case or getting in. I just have a feeling that a lot of the, I'm not going to call it angst, but a lot of the confusion, a lot of the, what the fuck is basically is they're a blue blood and they're not so far removed from actually winning this thing. So I think it has more to do with that. Let's keep this brand in the field as compared to, even though Indiana is a hell of a brand. Not as good of a season, but you get what I'm saying. The name power is there. But I do believe that North Carolina is a bigger brand than Indiana, West Virginia, any of the teams that we've talked about so far. So I have a very good feeling that was a big part of this decision. So whether or not I'm with everyone that I've kind of showcased here, I really don't agree with them being in the dance. Some of those other teams were more well deserving than North Carolina. And speaking of teams, let's look at the conference breakdown. Okay, this is a tweet from College Basketball Report. Bids by conference. SEC 14. SEC's been the best. The best conference by far in all of basketball, followed by the Big 10, the Big 12 with 7, Big East with 5, ACC with 4, WMC 4, WCC 2. So, and this has been an extremely down year for the ACC. We're used to seeing the ACC being, right there with the SEC and Big Ten when it comes to numbers for this tournament. So it's been from what I've read, a very historically bad or down season for the ACC, and which is kind of unfortunate because Duke is one of the best teams in the country, and they obviously are in the ACC. So how good really are they? When you take a look at their conference schedule, when the conference is down, you're kind of expected to win all of those. But I I'm not saying it's like rewind 10 years ago and we're talking about Gonzaga in like the Wichita States of the world where they were highly ranked, but their competition wasn't there, and they would run the table, be undefeated throughout the regular season, only to come into March Madness and not get the job done. And I can't tell you how many, even Gonzaga to this day will fuck my bracket up, whether I pick them to win or pick them to lose. They always have a knack for messing Turbo's bracket up. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And it's just one of those things, taxes, death, and Gonzaga screwing up Turbo's bracket. That's one of the guarantees in life. And it's just one of the things I've had to come to grips with. And every time it comes to choose whether to ride them or pick them to lose, I can't seem to get it right. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if what are some tips for someone like me that is stuck with one team that's their bad juju. How do you shake that juju up? Let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, that's the conference breakdown. I mean, it wasn't a big shock that the SEC and Big Ten are kind of head and shoulders above the other conferences here, in particular the SEC. I mean, as we go through the bracket here, you're going to see a lot of SEC teams being named, and rightfully so. They are the deepest conference in college basketball. And it is weird to see some of the, with the normal ACC teams that we're used to seeing in the field not being there. It's kind of weird. And there's some teams here that I've never even heard of. I mean, I'm going to be straight up, hand up accountable. Never heard of some of these. Never heard of them. So if you are watching from one of these schools, let me know where they are exactly, because I would really like to know. Let's start off with nope. All right, let's start off with the South. Auburn gets the number 1 overall seed, and this is another controversy here, folks. Auburn's lost, I believe, 3 of their last 4. They're kind of sliding. Were they still going to be that overall number one overall seed? And the committee says yes. Now, before we get into the brackets, the individual quadrants, let me tell you something that I heard, and I want to say it was on Ryan Russillo's podcast. And I cannot remember who he was talking to, but he said that they were talking about the validity or do these conference championship tournaments mean anything? And you might be saying to yourself, well, yeah, if you win the tournament, you win your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid into the tournament. And yes, by all means, that is 100% correct. But you take a team like Michigan, who was bound to be in, regardless of their performance in the Big Ten tournament. So what advantages do they have? Michigan State doesn't make it to the finals. They were the number 1 seed in that tournament. What does that mean for them? And when it comes to like the big boys per se, there's rumors that the committee already has their brackets in on Friday. So granted, conference championship weekend is amazing. It gets, it kind of wets the whistle, if you will, for, the tournament that's coming up. So love that about it. But as far as moving and shaking when it comes to the seeding, doesn't really matter. And like I said, this gentleman that I believe it was Rasil had on a show was saying no, that a lot of these committee members have their brackets submitted on Friday. So, and I think like I said, this is I don't know this for for fact by any means. It's just something I heard on a podcast, but Russillo does seem to be a very credible person. So, is this if this is true, then let's see if we can find some little nuggets, if you will, to see to kind of back that theory up. And Auburn being the number one overall seed kind of plays into that. Kind of plays into that. And I'd be really real interested to see how close Duke was, because Duke was the number two seed. And but overall, Auburn gets the number one overall seed. And this is one of those where Michigan wins the Big Ten Conference Championship and is a five seed. And you're going to see that there's a lot of teams that they beat or had a better, I'm not going to say a better record, but probably should have been ahead of, even in the Big Ten, than even their number five seed. So could that be? Because if it, I was fully expecting Michigan to be a three after winning the Big Ten tournament. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm kind of over analyzing this Michigan team, but that's I was thinking they were going to fit somewhere right in around a three. Five, you could say, is right around a three, but still, I think five is a little low for this team. Auburn versus Alabama State or St. Francis of St. Francis, PA. Michigan State's number 2 seed versus 15 Bryant. Iowa State number 3, Linscomb 14. Texas A&M 4, Yale 13. And that's one there, ladies and gentlemen, you want to circle. You want to circle that 4v13 Texas A&M Yale. This Yale team is legit. Yale team is legit, so possible upset there. Possible upset there. Michigan 5 against number 12 UC San Diego. 6 Ole Miss. 11 San Diego State or UNC. So they did get the play in. And number 7 Marquette. Number 10 versus number 10 New Mexico. Louisville at the 8 seed against number 9 Creighton. Now, one thing that I do kind of want to get off my chest is this whole play-in thing. It's stupid. It is absolutely stupid. And if you're going to have a play-in, do it for do it for like the 16 seeds. There's really no way or no reason there should be a play-in for the 11 seed. I mean, come on. I guess I really don't fully understand how they determine where the play-in games are. But you would think that they would be like for the 15 and 16 seed, not the number 11 seed. So someone, if you guys and gals are smarter than me and can kind of go tell me what that's all about, I love it. Because ever since they became a thing, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. East region, Duke number 1 overall seed, or Duke is the number 1 seed, 2nd overall seed, and they play the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's for the 16 seed. This is a very interesting. No, it's the next one. Yeah. There's a lot of good possible. And one of the things that makes this whole field really intriguing, 2K Crew, is, and we've said it kind of for the past couple years, is that there really isn't that dominant team. Yes, Auburn is the number 1 overall seed, but like I said, they've lost 3 of their last 4, I believe. Duke, kind of uncertain. What's Cooper Flagg's situation? You know, he rolled his ankle. Obviously, they kept him out of the ACC tournament. But moving forward, do they even go as far as to set him this their first round game here? And even if he is going, how healthy is he? That's my big thing. How healthy is he? I would love for. I mean, because he's. I'm almost positive he'd be the odds-on favorite to go the number 1 overall pick in the draft. So, I mean, if he's good to go, then I think Duke walks through this. I'm not saying unscathed. I'm not saying this is a cakewalk for Duke to go through this, but especially if you look at the number 2 seeds, with Alabama being a 2 seed, I'm not so sold on them as you compare them to the other number 2 seeds. But they play number 15, Robert Morris. Robert Morris's first appearance in 10 years. The 3 seed is Wisconsin versus 14, Montana. 4 seed is Arizona versus 13, Akron. Akron is a very, very sneaky pick here too, 2K crew. Akron is the real deal. Number 5th seed, Oregon versus 12 seed, Liberty. 6 seed, BYU versus 11 VCU. And when they were announcing this, VCU wasn't that Shaka Smart, and then Shaka went to Texas, I believe, and has he just fallen off the face of the earth? I mean, the only time I ever hear anyone talk about Shaka Smart is when he took VCU and made those runs, and ultimately got him that job at Texas. And then I don't think anyone's ever heard from him since. Number 7 seed St. Mary's versus Vandy. 8 seed Mississippi State versus 9 seed Baylor. 9th seed Baylor. Yeah, this is getting back to that Alabama number 2 seed. If you look at the South 2 seed, Michigan State. Like I said, and then if you go to the Midwest, we've got Tennessee as a number 2 seed. And the West, I think this West is loaded. Loaded. You got St. John's as the number 2 seed. So I'm not saying that Duke has the easiest bracket, but it's looking like it is just as someone that doesn't dive into this for a living, it seems to me that Duke does have the easiest bracket here so far. Now, I'm sure once you get into it and cross the T's and dot the I's, that you'll see that they're all pretty level. But it does seem to me that their region does seem the most winnable for Duke. Midwest, 3rd overall seed, Houston. And Houston plays SIU Edwardsville. Where is SIU Edwardsville? Never heard of them. Number 2 seed here is Tennessee versus Wofford at 15. Kentucky coming up with a 3 seed versus 14 seed Troy. Number 4, Purdue. Runner-up Purdue plays High Point. It is their first ever tourney appearance. Where the fuck is High Point? No clue, but congrats for making the tournament. Congrats. And there was even one of the dudes on the selection show that's picking them to upset Purdue. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I wouldn't. I'm not jumping on that. Purdue's coming off like I said, a runner-up appearance last year in the finals. So yes, players are there's some players have left, new players have come in, but that Purdue pedigree is going to take them past High Point. But High Point, congratulations for making the tournament for the first time. That's awesome. That's awesome. That really is cool that there's teams making their first appearance in 2025. You would think by now, with all of the conference realignment and everything, that it seems like most every team in America would have made the dance by now. But it's kind of cool that we're still getting new blood into the tournament. So that's pretty cool. 5th seed Clemson against number 12 seed McNeese. Number 6 seed Illinois versus 11. Again, another play in Texas v. Xavier. Again, if I don't understand why you're playing a play-in game at 11, but that's beyond me. I'm sure smarter people have figured that out. The 7 seed UCLA versus 10 seed Utah State. Number 18 Gonzaga v. Georgia. And that's going to be a hell of a game. Those 8-9 games are so hard to pick because they should be. Probably most of those are pretty much coin tosses, but I think that one in particular is going to be a hell of a game. And we get to the West with the number 1 seed, or the number 4th overall seed, Florida. Florida's going up against Norfolk. And then this this 1-2 combination here of Florida and St. John's is going to be electric. If this happens to be the Elite Eight matchup, I would be extremely happy with that. And I'm actually this one has me that this region is going to take me the longest to fill out because I love Florida and I love St. John's. And I hate that I have to pick again. They play each other again. It's farther down the line, but I wanted to be able to pick those teams to go into the Final Four and then pick one of those to advance. But not the case. Not the case. But St. John's plays Omaha, and no, that is Omaha University, not Peyton Manning and his family, which probably would be funnier, but I have a feeling this Omaha University will give St. John's a little bit bigger of a test than the Mannings will. Texas Tech 3 seed against number 14 UNCW, and number 4 Maryland against 13 Grand Canyon, 5 Memphis versus 12 Colorado State. 6 Missouri versus 11 Drake, 7 Kansas against number 10 Arkansas, number 8 UConn, two-time reigning defending NCAA champion UConn Huskies as a number 8 seed, and number 9 versus number 9 Oklahoma. So we actually have the this could be a real thing that this UConn team could go back to back and be bounced the first round of this year's tournament. It's completely within reason that this would happen. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I really haven't taken a look too hard into either team, but the possibility is fascinating. It's fascinating. I mean, obviously, regardless what seed they're in, that there could be the possibility that they could be bounced in the first round. But for them to be in the 8-9 slot it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. But it does make for a good game, doesn't it, 2K crew? So you might be telling yourself, which way am I leaning here? Well, let's start off now that we have the table set. Let's go through and kind of make some picks here. And in the South, this one's going to be there's going to be a lot of good games in this one, with the possibility of Michigan and Michigan State playing. I think that would be really cool if that happened, just because of what happened, with the whole Michigan State kissing the floor, that whole scenario. I think that would be really cool if they were to meet in the tournament, and I'm actually hoping for that. But I think ultimately when it comes down to this one, even though this is the best Michigan State squad that Izzo has put out since his last, I believe, Final Four, this Auburn team is just, even though they're in a slide right now, I'm still picking them to win this region. And I think it's definitely not going to be a cakewalk, because, I mean, if you look at a lot of these, this is going to be awesome. And like I said, keep your eye on that Texas A&M Yale game. I think Yale can do it. I really do. And I'm not one that I usually pick upsets that 4v13. It's usually that 10-7, 12-5 is where I like to live with my upset picks. But this one here has me rather intrigued. So yes, circle that one, 2K crew. Texas A&M versus Yale. But like I said, ultimately, I think Auburn does end up pulling this off. And when I'm doing my picks here, ladies and gentlemen, let me know if you think I'm absolutely insane, if you think I'm right on the money, or if you have a completely different thought yourself. Let me know what's going on over there. Let's go to the East. Duke, like we talked about, I think when you look at all the teams that ended up in this East region, I think the committee did Duke a solid by putting them as, this is their region. Because I think ultimately that there are good teams in this region. If you go line by line and seed by seed and compare it to the other, we did the number 2, you could look at the number 3. Wisconsin lost in the Big Ten title game. Yes, I get that. But look how they compare to some other number threes. And I think if you went down the line and did that, you would see that there are the other seeds would be the other comparable seeds in other regions would be better than the seeds in this one. And again, Arizona at Akron. Again, that 413, I don't know if that's going to be a hot number this year, but like I said, I'm usually a 12-5 guy, 10-7 guy. But this 13-4, some of these matchups are going to be crazy. And I think ultimately Duke does walk away with this one, making it to a Final Four. But then again, a tweak of I almost called him Cooper Flagg's injury. If that happens to flare up, I mean, I don't know where that leaves them. They're still a very good team without him, but when you're trying to go and win all these games, because you lose, you go home. There is no tomorrow. So there's zero amount for error. And with him being the best player in the country, I think that's going to weigh a lot. So yes, Duke will win this with a healthy Cooper Flag. Without, I don't know. So let's just pray that doesn't happen. Let's just kind of we're gonna just ooze positivity coming out of here. We all want Cooper Flag to play in this tournament, be 100% healthy, and for just life to be awesome. The Midwest with Houston. Like I said, that 413 Purdue High Point. I'm not jumping on that one. As we've already talked about it. Excuse me. I think we're going to see electricity in round 1 with Gonzaga, Georgia. That's going to be awesome. A little note here that Georgia's going for their first tourney win since 2002. Wow. And Gonzaga's made 9 straight Sweet 16s. So wouldn't it be something if Georgia got their first tourney win since 2002 to stop the 9 straight Sweet 16 trips for Gonzaga? Now, again, I'm going to pick this wrong. Because if I pick Gonzaga, Georgia's going to win. If I pick Georgia, Gonzaga will make it to their 10th straight Sweet 16. Hands down. And it's not just Gonzaga doesn't screw my bracket up just in the first round. It's ongoing. I could pick them to win the entire tournament and they would lose in the first round. I could pick them to lose in the first round and they would make it to the Final Four. So now I'm kind of letting you in on what my track record is here, guys and gals. So like I said, let me know if you have a kryptonite team that always messes your bracket up, and if you've overcome it, let me know. I want to shake this demon. I want to shake this demon. But in this bracket, I love this Houston team, and I've said this about Houston for the past 3 or 4 years. I love this team. Love them. I think they're poised to make a run. I really do. But man, they've let me down the last few years. They've let me down. But I think too that they and to just go chalk with all the number 1 seeds, I think is going to be ridiculous. But the like I said, the hardest one here, 2K crew, is this West. I want to pick St. John's to go into the Final Four, but I have Florida winning it all. I'm done pussyfooting around with it. I'm taking Florida to win it all. And if they don't, St. John's will win it all. Hands down. I love both of these teams. And like I said, it sucks that they had to put them in the same region because I would love to see that Final Four matchup, Florida v. St. John's. I think that would be awesome. But unfortunately, the way it is right now, we won't get to see that. We won't get to see that, and it sucks. It sucks bad. And I'm actually sitting here just still mulling it around in my head how they have the same win-loss record, both 30-4, as is Houston. But man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So yeah, this West region, like I said, I have to pick Florida now because I already told you Florida's going to be my national champion. So Florida has to come out of this bracket. Florida has to come out of this bracket. And with the Midwest, like I said, I so want to. I so want to pull the trigger on Houston. I so do. But I think this is going to be one of those weird ones where like Tennessee is going to beat them in that Elite Eight to make it to the Final Four. So I'm gonna take Tennessee coming out of this bracket. And like I said, this is all. I mean, these brackets just came out less than 2 hours ago. So this is kind of a honest reaction. Like I haven't sat down and even thought about filling a bracket out yet, but I that's the way we like to do shit here, is kind of raw and real life reaction to shit. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But still, um, yeah, I want to pick Michigan State so bad in this South region. But man, Michigan State has a real hard time with shooting the threes. That's I mean, that's very public knowledge, as does St. John's. So that's but I guess the one bright side with St. John's is they lead the country in rebounding because they miss so many shots. But at least you're getting the vast majority of the rebounds that you miss. So I guess that's a good thing. But this, and this is such a lame way to think about it, because I mean, there's and of course, when you watch the selection shows and the breakdown shows, they're gonna push for every single upset on this board. Oh yeah, I can see how SIU Edwardsville is going to upset Houston. No, the fuck you can't. No. No one even knows where SIU Edwardsville is. I keep wanting to call it Edwardsburg because we have an Edwardsburg around here, but it's Edwardsville. And there's no way. I mean, there's no way that Houston's going to lose that game. No, sorry. And like I told you, everyone's Purdue High Point, 13v4. Keep an eye on it. Nope, not buying that either. Not buying that either. But the one, that 12-5 there, McNeese over Clemson, I could see that. I could see that one. But to me, the sleeper team in this Houston region is going to be Illinois. That Illinois team is very good, and I think they might have gotten overshadowed in a very good Big Ten conference. But yeah, that Illinois team, keep an eye on them. Man, this West Division, damn. Another matchup I'll watch out for, or you should watch out for, is this Colorado State Memphis, that 12-5 line there in the West. Colorado State balled out today. They did end up winning, but they balled out. A lot of people are saying Grand Canyon State over Maryland, that 13v4. I'm not buying that. Maryland's an excellent team. I mean, this is probably at certain points in the season, you could have argued that Maryland was the best team in the Big Ten, hands down. Did they end up being the best team in the Big Ten? No, but that Big Ten conference is deep, is very good, as we saw with how many teams are in. But yeah, this is this West region is loaded. I love it. I love it. And yeah, you got Kansas at 7, UConn at 8, Oklahoma 9, two-time reigning defending NCAA champions at 8. Man, this is gonna be one hell of a tournament. One hell of a tournament. Oh, excuse me. Colorado State did win. Did win. And kind of some of the bubble teams that were left out. Boise. I mean, we talked about West Virginia. We talked about Indiana. What about Boise State, UC Irvine? If the Broncos, if Boise State would have beat Colorado State, they would have been in. But they lost. Or they won 7 of their last 9 games, but those 2 losses were to Colorado State. So West Virginia, some evaluators believe the Mountaineers could have gotten in if they had a great showing against Houston in the Big 12 Conference Tournament last week. However, number 16 Colorado bounced them from the tournament. Ultimately, that loss seemed to be a factor into them being out. And UC Irvine, much like Boise State, the Anteaters, that's an awesome mascot, had the chance to mark their own bid, but the Big West went to the UC San Diego in the conference tournament final. A weak non-conference schedule likely led to them being left out. But yeah, all in all, this should be a great tournament. I can't wait. And we've said this, like I said, for the last 3 or 4 years, and you could say that the transfer portal has done a lot for this. NIL has done a lot for this. But there isn't a dominant team. There isn't a juggernaut that you can just kind of be like, all right, yep, this team right here. And you'd have, 65, 70% of all the brackets take that team to win it all. I think a lot of folks are gonna swing towards Auburn just because they're the overall number 1 seed. But there, like I said, there's a lot of other teams. Like I said, I'm taking Florida. I'm 100% taking Florida. That team is nasty. That team is deep, and they're going to go far. Like I said, I've picked them to win. And so, all that being said, we are doing the annual Turbo and 2K's bracket challenge. So if you are interested in that, go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/2Kcrew. And I will be posting tomorrow the link on how to get in there. It's $10. $10 get you 3 teams, or 3 brackets. And everything's done via PayPal or Venmo. Winner take all. If we do get over probably 25 entries, we will go for a second place. But I think it's better winner take all, especially when we're giving you up to 3 brackets. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, go ahead and get in there and let's get you into the annual challenge. And I believe, I'm trying to remember who won last year, but your boy does pretty good in these challenges. So, but like I said, 9 times out of 10, especially if you're doing it in your work, there will be a person in your office that fills out a bracket that mainly they go by the mascots, which is fine. Some of them go by the colors of the uniform, which is fine as well. But here's one thing that I think the color folks, or that came out wrong, the folks that picked their winners by the color of their jerseys, this might kind of sway your thinking here. Let me see here. And this is from USA Today. So this is a pretty credible source. And it says, and if all else fails, the main thing that is repeated every year is to pick a team associated with the color blue. In the last 20 years, Louisville in 2013 and Baylor in 2021 are the only teams that have cut down the nets and cried to one shining moment without blue being part of their primary color scheme in its uniform. My Florida pick checks that box. Checks that box. So I'm happy with that. So when it comes down to it, 2K crew, this is science. The last 20 is only 18 of the last 20 years. The team that wins has blue in their color scheme. Now it doesn't say what shade of blue. It just says blue. So if you're thinking about Houston, no blue. If you're thinking of St. John's, not blue. Auburn does have some blue. Let's take a look here again. Okay, Auburn does have blue. Michigan State does not. Duke obviously does. Alabama does not. Houston does not. Tennessee does not. Kentucky does. Kentucky's the number 3 seed in the Midwest. Could that be a thing? Florida does. St. John's does not. Texas Tech does not. Maryland does not. Memphis does. Kansas does. UConn does. Oklahoma and Arkansas. Nah, sorry. And those of you from Grand Canyon, I have no idea what your colors are. So if you're picking it according to that, then there are a lot of good teams that do sport blue in their uniform. So maybe go by that. I think that's all I've got for this week. Like I said, everyone head over to facebook.com/group/2K crew. That's the number 2K crew. I believe there's 2 questions just to make sure you're not robots. Go ahead and answer them. I'll let you in the group, and keep an eye out for that bracket challenge link coming your way tomorrow. And let's get this thing. Let's like I said, if we get to 25 entries or 25 people, not 25 entries, because everyone gets up to 3 brackets. If we do get up to or over 25 entries, we will pay out a second place. But like I said, we're giving you 3 brackets, giving you 3 shots at it. Make the most of it. And I believe there's only been 1 year where we've but we extended the payout to the second place team. So it's all going to be on ESPN. I know, Kyler, you're the only one that doesn't like ESPN. So sorry about it, but everyone else doesn't have a problem with ESPN. So that one's on you, kid. That's not on anybody else. That one's on you. But I will get that out tomorrow. Go ahead and I'll start pubbing that. Let's get the entries rolling on that. And what'll happen is I'll post the link to the challenge, and then you'll have to message me to get the password. And once you obviously pay me, and then I will release the password to you. So that's kind of the way it goes. And it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's completely online. The days of the paper brackets are kind of gone by the wayside, even though that was the best. And so yeah, that's kind of the rundown here, folks. It's going to be an awesome week. The weather this weekend here in Michigan was really screwy. If you would have seen the weekend outlook, it would have been a high of 75 with snow, because yesterday it was a high of 75 or 76, and today it's snowing. Welcome to Michigan. But none of it's sticking. It's probably 33, 34 degrees, so it's snowing, but not snowing. So yeah, still needs to get warmer. I need to go golfing. It's I'm getting the itch. Well, 2K crew, we'll get you out of here on that. Everyone have a great week. Like I said, big announcement for the special guest next week. Cannot wait. This is going to be awesome. Hopefully, 2Ks will be better. I know I went through the whole flu thing. Our whole house did, and man, it sucked. It sucked, and I guarantee there's a lot of folks sitting out there going, "Yep, been there, done that." So yeah, he told me he didn't feel good. I told him to stay his ass home because I don't want to go through that again. Do not want to go through that again. But yes, big show coming up next week. Go follow us on Twitter or X, whatever it is. It's the Turbo and 2K show, and I will be announcing that here in the next couple days. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. This interview has been in the works since November. So, but wanted to kind of get a little. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with baseball, which is why we're getting him in this time of year as compared to November. Because even when we were talking, the World Series was over. But yeah, just wanted to make sure it was kind of appropriate for the time of year, and it'll be worth the wait. It'll be worth the wait. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Well, everyone have a great week. Everyone fill out your brackets. Like I said, if you're stuck, pick the team with blue. I mean, 18 out of the last 20 champions had blue in their uniform. So everyone have fun, be safe, enjoy March Madness, especially this first week, Thursday and Friday, two of the best days of the year. Everyone have a good one. I will see you next week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.